Well, howdy, howdy, howdy. Welcome back to Sidetrack, your sci-fi TV and movie channel. I didn't really get to say howdy too much just a second ago. How are you doing, Sarah?
Yeah, I'm doing good.
Cool.
But I'm having problems today, so I don't look great, but it's all right. I'm here.
It still looks awesome, nonetheless. Today, we don't have a whole bunch to talk about necessarily, unless we do, and that is up to you. We do want to kind of discuss the Colin Cunningham interview and think about and talk about, discuss, of course, if Stargate actually can come back, bring up some of the points that he brought up in the interview itself and the video that Jamie put out yesterday for Sidetrack Daily. We will probably go ahead, and it's a good thing to preface for those that do not know that we are not doing a Stargate Atlantis charity stream today. We are going to push that back a little bit. I think I have it scheduled for not this Saturday, but next Saturday. Hopefully we can make that work. We're going to be advertising a whole bunch more. We just want to make it a little bit more chutzpah, you know, have a little more guff to it, have some more fun to it, rather than just a simple watch party alone. David, Quest, howdy.
Hello, everybody.
But yeah, howdy. If y'all have any questions at all from the Colin Cunningham interview, any Stargate questions, I guess, in general, or we can only answer those to some degree, of course, but the Colin Cunningham stuff, or if you just want to talk about Stargate and its actual, I guess, palpability of coming to fruition, I guess.
We all want it. Anyway.
We all do. I totally forgot. Before Peter or Michael gets in here and starts hollering at me, put the right banner down there below. But yeah, what were your thoughts on the video yesterday? Of course, I got to talk to him for a while, so y'all know what I think to some degree, I guess. But what were you thinking after Jamie's video and everything?
Jamie's video was like very good, by the way. I really liked how he put that together. It was good. Well, when I think about Colin, I just feel like Colin, he seems very frustrated, like very upset at how the industry has changed, that it's more administrative driven than creative driven. So I get his frustrations with that. I still think Stargate, I get what he was saying, but I still think it can happen.
I'm with you.
Are people going to accept it? Because it's not going to be 90s SG1. It's not going to. Yeah. It's going to be more SGU, which I've always thought that all along. It's going to be more that feel, I think.
Do you think it can go maybe like SGA-ish? I feel like SGA is, I mean, typically the happy medium within SG1 and SGU as well, but SGA...
Yeah, I think it could, because...
By the end, Woolsey, Robert Picardo, he's a civilian leader, isn't he? And technically, I guess Sam is a civilian leader and not a military leader when she's in there, right? Or no, she's military. Or she...
Weir? She's civilian.
No, we're civilian. I guess Sam reverts. When Sam's in charge, is she...
She's still military, I believe, yeah.
Okay.
She's a colonel at that point?
Mm-hmm.
Or, yeah.
But was she... I guess she is active military one way or another, so it is a military in charge, even though she's not militaristic per se.
Right. So... Yeah. And maybe that's why they put... Woolsey in charge, I don't know, but I really love the Woolsey character, the way he develops. It's just really good. Yeah.
He's great.
I could see it would be great to bring Robert Picardo in. Like, they should think about that, because he'd be cool. Would be a good bridge character kind of too, between like old and new iteration of it, whatever it turns out to be.
We get some extra Trekkies on board in one way or another with little Picardo. It would be a smart move.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I do see what he's saying, though, in the sense that it's not the same that it was. It's not like I say it in the interview, it's not the same Hollywood, at least, than when I moved out here in 2019. Like, you know, everybody was, woo, it's about to be 2020. The world's about to be different. We're going to do all this cool stuff. New decade. We've got it. Roaring 20s. That didn't happen. Hollywood is bit the bullet, but it feels like it is biting the bullet. more and more out here all the time.
Anyway, well, hopefully maybe, we seem to always bounce between guardrails, like too far one way, too far the other way, and then there's like that moment of like it's perfectly down the middle, and then it goes off to the side again, one way or the other.
Equilibrium for longer this time, please.
Right? Yeah, exactly.
We have the internet now, like in all of its insanity, and we know how it functions at least now in society. Like it is a functional part of society now. That means we have like all the information right here. We could choose to stay and hover in that area when we realize we're there. It's just as a society, we got to figure out if that's what it is, and we got to figure out where that hover is. That's a whole different topic as well.
Yeah. I'm hoping that maybe our current politics would seem to indicate as well that maybe things might have reached the peak of one side and are starting to head towards the middle again, hopefully. But
yeah. that pendulum swing, and everybody likes to mention. Just hover around the middle. I want to hear the clock strike 12 just over and over and over again. I just want it to be right. Like, please. But howdy, Brain Pain. Howdy, Bob. What other way went too far? Everybody, all the time. Who knows? A pick and apply where you choose fit, or where you see to choose fit. However, I'm trying to say. Yeah. But no, I'm with you. It's just it's not the same environment or climate as SG1 originally had, and even though it lasted 10 years into different television climates and political climates, et cetera, it still was what it was, and I don't know if it can inherently be what it was, but it might be able to be what it grew into with SGA and SGU. And that's the hope, that we can have that back a little bit, I guess.
Yeah. They just I just don't want them to overthink it and over worry about it, and like,
well, because even back in the day, like especially by the end of SG1, we're talking religion all the time. We're talking some deep concepts. Maybe even SG1 by the end of it, when it was SGC kind of deal,
right?
Maybe that could still play today a little bit, because it isn't as military focused at that point. You do have a military team, and it's leading the charge and all of these things. But simply replace General Landry or whoever with
a civilian, or well, it should be Sam. Everybody wants it to be Sam, I think, running it.
Sam or Daniel Jackson.
And she has more of a balanced view. I think she's not like so hardcore military like O'Neill. She seems more like a good person to kind of balance that military civilian thing.
She's thankfully more Daniel Jackson than she is Jack O'Neill. And that's and not by a whole bunch necessarily, I would say, but in her primary focal point of let's push humanity forward and like learn the science of what's going on. She might not be the linguist, but she does do the technical know-how, and like Daniel does in his own way.
Yeah, it's just like her and Daniel are kind of different sides of the same coin, in a way.
Yeah, they're two different face sides of the same coin, and then there's Jack on the other. Jack and Teal'c are on the other side, and they're just
they were the
Howdy, Peter. Peter, I changed it down here. I literally said it a second ago. I changed it down here. Changed the right banner. That's what I'm looking for down there at the bottom. Chris is saying the Lucian Alliance. Do you think the Lucian Alliance is where we should jump back into? Do you think that's a way to maybe ground the story at the beginning? We can jump into all the different scenarios of how to bring back Stargate and all that real quick, but with applying that to, I guess, what Colin was saying, is that a way that we can actually bring the military aspect of things back into it, maybe?
Yeah, because they're sort of a military. Well, there's the Lucian Alliance is sort of very human-like, right? They're just have their own ambitions and agenda, but Earth does too. So it's kind of like, I think ultimately they're both kind of wanting the same things. They just don't want to share that power, I think. But it was real interesting when SGU kind of, opened that door, and I was like, oh, this is interesting. We could explore this with, and they're putting some of the sci-fi stuff in it too, with what the mind,
the minds, the seeing stones and everything,
or what was it? Anyway, brainwashing, mind, whatever that was.
Oh, that
thing, yeah, it's just, I could see where we would need to have, almost have like a Cold War sort of thing going on with the Lucian Alliance, but it'd have to be like secret unless we're like letting the world know what's going on. So then we'd have this Cold War going on with an alien race. I mean, I guess they're humans, but alien because they're not.
That would actually be. You just brought up a couple different things, because if we are however many years, I guess 15, 17 years after SGU ended, or maybe 13, whatever it actually is.
Right.
We'll probably be 15 to 17 years by the time we actually get whatever we get for Stargate.
Right.
If the Stargate program is public, or if, like we've said 100 times, where the Stargate itself is not public, but we do have spacecraft and we can fly around, becomes public.
Right.
It would be cool to see that, to just, spitballing here with the whole idea that we need to find a way for it to be militaristic in some way, or not necessarily militaristic, but bring the military aspect of Stargate back into the fold without just tossing it to the side and making it modern kind of deal.
Right.
A Cold War between not necessarily us, but maybe the Jaffa kind of take up our place in the battle, and the Lucian Alliance and the Jaffa have been fighting a Cold War for a long time. And we, of course, have been kind of maybe helping fund or give weapons to, or give Nakwita to the Jaffa and all that kind of stuff. Right. And maybe that's a good way to bring it into a modern time where, okay, we do know wars are expensive to make. That's very true as well, Peter.
Right.
A Cold War might not be as expensive because you don't have to do so much explosiveness, and can kind of like leave that on the outskirts with the Jaffa and Lucian Alliance.
Right.
I guess the long story short, the point I'm trying to make is it would be interesting from the Earth, the Tauri perspective, because, okay, well, we know we're friends with the Jaffa and they look like us, but they also have this parasitic species inside of them. And if they don't, they're reliant on us, and it feels like we're almost not making I don't want to say a slave species in a way, but hell, the Jaffa are relying on Tritonin, and they're kind of relying on us making it for them at this point. I don't know where we'll pick up with that,
Oh, yeah.
Big Pharma exporting, like literally, though, it would be Big Pharma in that case.
Wasn't that corn like addictive or something too, or like I don't remember. Or if it was or you had to eat it, or I forget what the deal was with it. There was something. Anyway, I don't remember.
It was insulin-like. I feel like the way they treated it, but I feel like there wasn't I gotta watch the latest episodes of SG1 as well, just because I forget. But I think there is an addiction, something in there. Y'all remind us as well. But I guess the thing that I'm trying to make the point of is, whenever humanity, the Tauri, look into this Cold War space battle, would we be friends with the alien species? Or why are we not friendly with the Lucian Alliance? Aren't they just the remnants of the bad guys aren't they just people trying to fill in the remnants of the bad guys? Yeah. So would I don't know if your average human from Earth itself would be for the Jaffa or for the Lucian Alliance if this was made public information as well. And if it were to get leaked, that could be a whole outpour and outcry from Earth itself, from all the different nations. Oh, Spin did bring an excellent point up. The Jaffa don't get a pouch till they do the ceremony thing, so their offspring won't be dependent on Tritonin.
Oh, I don't remember how that went down. Anyway.
Because you remember
when they were kids, they didn't have a.
Because remember Ryak, whenever Teal'c has to go back and he's having the ceremony, and he kind of says, "All right, go through with it," kind of because he was dying and he needed the tools to be able to do all that.
Yeah,
but
like they can live without it as a kid, and then at a certain age, like when you hit puberty or something, you have to get a Gould or something like that. I don't know.
So I guess they would be dependent on Tritonin at a certain point. but
right. Maybe
could
they
that be
figure that out with the Asgard database. Somehow they figure out a way to like permanently fix that.
Mhm. Yes,
Yeah.
Spin actually was saying with the acquisition of Asgard tech, isn't Earth far superior advanced than the Lucian Alliance?
Mhm.
Yeah, but think about that. And hey, we have our Brits here all the time. Think about it like the American Revolution in a sense, where the Lucian Alliance would be the United States in that
Mhm.
reference, and
Mhm.
the Earth would be the British Empire, where Lucian
Right.
Alliance knows that they cannot beat Earth head on.
Yeah.
Oh, but they can do some guerrilla warfare around everywhere and attack our ship here, attack our supply chain here,
Mhm.
attack a smaller convoy of important people over here, whatever it may be. And if they've literally infiltrated Commander Telford on the planet, and they're able to infiltrate the Destiny ship across
Yeah.
multiple galaxies away,
Yeah.
they're gonna be a tricky nemesis or a foe to have, I think.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, the Tritonin stuff would be interesting. Of course, the Asgard tech is there, so maybe after a generation, maybe all the new children born after 3 or 4 years after we've had the tech, we were able to negate the effects of the Tritonin and the. I, how do you? I guess I don't know if there's information on it enough about
Right.
like the differences between a Jaffa and a human, actually.
Yeah, like how did they evolve, what was that evolution and could be was that evolution or genetic engineering that could be reversed or what? I don't think they really get too deep into that. It'd be kind of interesting to know.
Yeah, I just Googled it really quickly, and it's not really saying anything. That might be a good topic ourselves to pick up for a Stargate Outpost episode. Would y'all enjoy
Mhm.
that? We just do a deep dive into the Jaffa, what they are, who they are, what brought them to be, Because
Yeah.
essentially,
Mhm.
would it be would the Jaffa? Because the Jaffa are people that were taken away from Earth many
Right.
years ago, same as all the other
Right.
humans in
Hmm.
the galaxy. But there is a genetic twisting. Jaffa were probably created by the demented faction of ancients who had the genetic twisting technology. No, the Jaffa were created by the Goa'uld. Uh, I believe. I might be wrong, I
Right.
guess, but I believe they're Goa'uld.
But they may
Uh,
have used ancient technology or something we don't know.
yeah,
Because they
because they
were
do
into, the
steal tech.
old like to steal other technology rather than develop their own. So, yeah.
Maybe it was. Huh. Well, humans can turn into Jaffa like Colonel O'Neill with Hathor. That odd toy fanboy and Spin are just reminding us.
Mhm.
Uh, that's yeah. We need to do an episode about that and do a deep dive. I don't know if
Mhm.
I've actually seen a video about that before. I'm sure that would have popped up over the years. Like I've watched enough freaking Stargate YouTube videos about different things. You would have thought something like that would pop up. Let's do that.
Mhm.
Uh,
No, that sounds good.
Jaffa. Sorry,
I'll have to
go.
do some homework.
That's going to require a lot of homework. We're going to have to come in here with our glasses on and all the way up. Jaffa have an immune system until the symbiote is put in the pouch.
Okay. Yeah.
And if they never get the symbiote, yeah, now I'm just thinking. um, but back to I guess the Cold War aspect of it all that got us to the
Right.
Jaffa. What literally the conversation we're having right now, we would be having as the Tauri on the planet Earth in Stargate. We would
Mhm.
be trying to figure out. Well, they told us these guys are human, but they also have literal. They were bred to put parasites in their body. Is that an evolution? Are they like the next evolution? What about these? What are these ancient people? Because that seems like the next evolution of
Right.
humanity. If these guys were
Right.
evolved, are they ancients? That question might even arise a little bit.
Mhm.
Uh, so on and so forth. But yeah, it's a complicated thing. Ryak was suffering from scarlet fever when he was sick, some kind of sickness. Yeah. I don't know if they're born with the pouch or get the pouch during the ceremony. That's what's confusing. And what about the Unis? The Unis would be
right, because they were supposedly like the first hosts, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yeah,
they were the first ones on that planet. I guess the planet because that Unis ends up getting shot up and killed, right? And the other later planet when they befriend the Unis, Daniel Jackson ends up I guess having the friends on that planet. And they kind of coexist with humans eventually. Which that would be cool to see. Another Stargate Outpost episode that we definitely have to do come New Year is what species from Stargate would you like to see actually included more? There are a few.
Yeah. The Wraith. We haven't even touched on those.
Yeah, in a big way. I didn't have a fancy little thumbnail to put up, so I just tossed on the picture of the Wraith with my face on it real quick. I was just like, Stargate! First thing I saw, they said Stargate in there. Why'd the Goa'uld switch to humans? Unis seem like a far superior species, a lot harder to kill.
Maybe they just thought there was an advantage. I don't know.
The intellect isn't there, is what I thought it was.
Right.
They chose humans for our intellect, or at least our ability to broaden our intellect at a faster rate. Because the Unis still had a decent intellect. We saw, of course. Yeah. I think the first generation of Jaffa were modified humans / Unis. Then they proliferated the old-fashioned way from there. That'd make sense. Melvin's thinking they would keep the human immune system, then the symbiote replaces it, and that's what they say in the show, he believes. Okay, so they really are human until... So, is becoming a Jaffa almost a ceremonial thing in that sense, then?
I think once you have the larva or whatever implanted, but it's unclear. Are they born with the pouch, and then they just... Because my understanding was like they have an immune system when they're children, and then when they hit puberty, that starts failing, and they have to get a symbiote. But I could be totally wrong. But I don't know, because I thought that was what was happening with Teal'c's son.
Mm-hmm.
There's that one episode. Yeah.
Speaking of the devil, Ryak's mom doesn't have a pouch, right? And there are female Jaffa.
Right.
Does she not have a pouch?
I don't know. I thought they did, but I don't know. They don't.
The only thing
they show it is outside of like in Children of the Gods, when the one comes out.
Yeah, because the only time I guess you wouldn't have a pouch is if you see the actress or actor walking around with a midsection showing that doesn't have a big cross cut out.
Doesn't Hathor has a pouch, doesn't she?
Well, Hathor doesn't have a pouch because she's a Goa'uld and it came in from the back of her neck, right?
I don't know.
Okay, well, I just Googled because I said differences between Jaffa, human, and Goa'uld at first. Nothing came up. But the first thing that pops up on Stargate Wiki when I type in, or on Google is Stargate Wiki, and I typed in are Jaffa-born humans, it says while they physically look like humans, their physiology is completely alien due to being genetically engineered by the Goa'uld from slaves taken from Earth that were implanted with infant Goa'uld to serve as their soldiers as well as servants of different kinds to their empire.
Right.
So I guess the difference is, from what I get from that, is that they are different from humans, and what may... Because the thing that still throws me off is the Colonel O'Neill and Hathor making him the Jaffa at that moment. But maybe that's because he had the ancient gene.
Oh.
That could be it, because definitely the Goa'uld would have taken most of the humans, at least, with probably the ancient gene, first and foremost, back in the day. Because if their physiology is completely different, that means that there have to be Unas Jaffa at a certain point as well. There would have to be all these other species they've taken control of. They're actually, like it said, I guess, changing the inner physiology of us to be able to gestate and I guess incubate the Goa'uld, and it also helped you, I guess. That's such an interesting thought. Yeah, we're definitely gonna have to do a deep dive on this one day because that's just wild.
Yeah, there's a lot of little rabbit holes you can go down with Stargate like that. Like, well, what let's dig down on what are the Jaffa exactly? Where did they come from? How'd they evolve? It's like interesting.
Yeah. We need Stargate Outpost into the rabbit hole episodes. We need to call Chazz and get a cool intro and just say we need a into the rabbit hole little button.
Right.
It'd be perfect. Because honestly, this is because we start going into how the Unas would have had to change their physiology the same. I don't know if they have all the lore there, but I know they have more than we think they do.
Right.
You just have to go looking. It wasn't a hand device. I hate the Hathor episodes. Maybe we should just tie the hand device around her waist. It was a different device. I'm remembering now. Well, honestly, I trust Melvin because every single time we were watching that SG1 marathon, he was like, well, this is going on. He didn't even have the episode on, I don't think. He just knew it off the top of his head, which props, man. Props, Melvin. But yeah, so the Unas are awesome. That is going to be the first species we talk about whenever it's my turn to talk about the species we want to come back because I love the Unas. But with Stargate being able to come back or not is of course, you're welcome, Melvin. I don't want to necessarily get into like the politic aspect of if Stargate can come back or not, because we're jumping in for the military aspect. And Melvin just said Una's for Stargate member. Do we even want to? Does it change what we want to see too fundamentally if we don't follow a military team when we come back? Do we have to follow a military team?
I don't think so. I mean, I just feel like it still has to be an aspect of it. If it's being kept secret, then, and there is a reason for the military to be involved. I mean, there's threats out there of other alien species that, we do need to protect Earth from.
Yeah, they're necessary. I'm just trying to think of a way that we could bring back Stargate without the because you don't want to just, like Colin says in the interview, you don't want to just throw all that to the wayside. It is inherently Stargate. It needs to be revered as such. Where if they could follow a science team. You know what they could do is they could totally follow a team of scientists or a small little group of scientists, one or two scientists that maybe the military is in charge of the operation, but they can't keep their people there necessarily. So maybe they outsource it to some mercenaries or something. And that's what we get. Or maybe we finally get some Stargate bounty hunters in there. And bounty hunters are... Put me in, coach. I'm ready. I'm just trying to, because even then you would want at least one or two military members alongside your scientists to kind of keep them there, and maybe that military member that's guarding your scientists would be in charge of the hired hands, and that could be a way of doing it. Yeah, I just don't know. Spin saying he thinks it should be made public, but I don't get why the military wouldn't have the same role. Yeah. That's the thing. Even in this scenario, I'm trying to figure out a way for it not to be military, and it's still made public, but I don't get why the military wouldn't have the same militaristic. I don't know. Can you think of any way that they can get a team in there that's not that still includes and involves the military, but doesn't necessarily make it the focal point.
Right. Maybe the gate's not located on a military base, but it'd have to be a secure location.
Area 51.
Yeah. But is that military? It is, isn't it? I don't know. Whatever.
I guess it's just federal government at that point, which kind of coincides. There's sure as hell military people there, you know?
Yeah.
Spin says you have your scout teams that go to planets for the first time to access the planet. From there, you can send the scientist for research or whatever. Or attach a science officer to each scout team. Yes, I like that. I like that. It would have to be a combo situation like Atlantis. Yeah, that makes sense. Because I guess even really the only military member in Atlantis is Flanagan. Not Shepard.
Yeah, it's Shepard.
Oh, Shepard. Oh, duh. That's why I'm not thinking Shepard. Because you say Shepard, or I think Shepard, and my brain goes to Mass Effect. Because it's Commander Shepard in Mass Effect for all of it. So I just said Shepard, or mentally said Shepard myself, and just was like, that's not right.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, it is. Of course.
I mean, there was a military team there that he was over. They didn't really bring up, they didn't show them a lot. Mm-hmm. And then there was
what's the little blonde?
What's his name that left?
Rainbow Sun Franks.
I forget the anyway, there was him, but then they booted him for Ronin, so
rightfully so. But I really honestly I liked Rainbow Sun Franks coming back as a semi-real. I would have liked to see him come back maybe once or twice, 3 times a season kind of deal. Not just maybe once every other season after that. God, what was his character? That's gonna kill me. Shepard's still totally in charge of the military there. Because who is? Right. It's not whoever Rainbow Sun Frank's character is. Do you remember the little
Ford?
Tiny Ford. Thank you. Oh, it's just you had the epiphany for us. God, I can't remember the other guy's name too. It's not that one's not gonna. I'm not gonna get hung up on it. But the little blonde dude, he's probably like 5'10", yada yada. But he just looks little compared to everybody else. The skinny tiny dude that ends up painting on the balcony of Atlantis at that one episode when they're all just kind of hanging out. He was. Let me pull up Atlantis personnel. I totally spelled personnel wrong. SGA. There we go. Come on, he's got to be right here. I don't remember the character's name off the. Oh, Bates. Bates would be a good character to have around. I forgot about him. SGA's secondary team. Because he was the leader in charge of the secondary team. I got a bunch of like high school basketball now. Stargate. Where's our guy? I'll find him. Is that? Oh no, that's just a bad picture of McKay. Okay, I'm gonna get on IMDb and do this. I don't want to like bore everybody while I'm doing it, of course. Thorne! Oh, thank you. Yeah, I was thinking Thorne or Lorne? Lorne, head of the SGC and SGU. Oh, no. Oh, no. That's Commander Lorne. No. I'm thinking, is it Lorne? Because that actually sounds correct. Let me go ahead and bring up IMDb so y'all can see what I'm doing. It is cast because the guy's in it a bunch, but yeah, one way or another, John Shepard totally runs the military aspect of it. But he ends up being, after Rainbow Sun Franks, Ford's gone. I guess he really is the only true military guy. I know Ronan's military from another military, but he hasn't been military in a little over half a decade. Where is the guy? Oh, it is Lorne. Thank y'all. It is Kevon Smith, Major Evan Lorne. This guy. That's exactly what I was thinking of. Because he was in charge. Shepard would have been in charge of him and his crew the entire time, and all that kind of stuff. We're just talking Stargate, Mark. Howdy. What I miss? Currently trying to figure out who the hell Lorne was for a second.
I don't remember. I mean, if I saw his face, I probably would be like, "Oh yeah, that guy." But
Lorne was the head of. He was. Yep. That's the one. Hair's coming down with amnesia. Yep. Sorry, we call those brain farts around here. Lorne is the second ranking military member, a major, I believe. Okay. Yeah, no, Lorne's who I was thinking of, and he was totally in charge of his team. I guess Lorne ended up truly taking Ford's rank and spot in Stargate Atlantis. And that almost ended up being better because your brain farts stink. I know. They happen on air, and I'm like scrambling to figure them out. But do you think, just thinking about that, now that we're all on the same page of my crazy brain, my bad, do you think that would be a beneficial way of bringing back Stargate with the military? Like, you still have that militaristic formation. A military guy might technically be in charge, but that's kind of, I guess, some of the fun that we have with Atlantis a lot is, sure, Ronan is like, yeah, I'm Chewie, I'll hang out. I don't know who Chewie is, but you know, I'm good at taking orders, and I know how to take orders. And he is militaristic in his own way, but he's also, I don't have to do what you tell me to do. I might go off and do my own thing every now and then.
Right.
Which McKay totally does the same thing. And then Taylor is Taylor. She's like, I might be military-ish, but I'm going to go do this over here real quick every now and then. Because usually she sees somebody that she can help or something like that. And same thing with Ronan in his own kind of more brutish kind of way. Do you think that might be a good way of handling it, where the military almost becomes that secondary team of not a recurring character that you might have once or twice a season, but maybe a regular character? They're in every other episode or every 2 episodes, maybe more so than boom, military team, doop-de-dee. You still have that maybe scout team. You utilize that like a scout team, almost like Spin was saying. And
like security protection, not so much like the civilian science side is running it, and they're just there to protect, threats to Earth, and just the team going to these unknown places. They need a security team that knows what they're doing to like kind of scope it out.
So my thought process there is they always have Colonel O'Neill, Major Carter, Colonel Carter, Colonel John Shepard, so on and so forth. Do we need someone actually ranking? Because that's always been, they probably had it because it was such a new program and you wanted someone that you could have out in the field and truly trust. But now that it's a program that's been going on for a decade plus, kind of a couple decades plus at this point, actually a couple decades plus now that I'm thinking about it.
Yes.
Why send colonels and majors and people of that out on those teams? Wouldn't it just be a scout team with maybe a private or two and maybe like a corporal, or a sergeant or somebody?
Yeah, just an advanced security team, just to be like, okay, we're going to go through the gate, we're going to check it out. Are they friendlies? Are they not? And just go from there. And then obviously like the military, in worlds where we've already established relationships or we know are safe places to go, you don't need the military because we have a working relationship with those people. It's just you need more military for the new things.
You go to a Jaffa planet, you don't need a military detail with you anymore.
No.
And that might be a fun thing where, okay, well, maybe we don't have your regulars for that episode, But then we
Right.
go to Chulak or wherever for the wait. Chulak's exploded, isn't it? Chulak's no longer, right? Or no, it just got.
Abydos, I know, is no more, but
Abydos got exploded. The whole planet, not the.
right. They all ascended or whatever.
That's right. Okay. Maybe Chulak just got. I know the city got destroyed. I don't know if the planet got destroyed as well. One way or another, wherever they go with Jaffa, that might be a fun way to introduce more characters. Where that way you have a series reoccurring character. Where now we're on Chulak or whatever Jaffa world we're on.
Right.
We don't need that military detail we usually go with.
Right.
But we're going to need some mercenaries while we're in town, or maybe not mercenaries. Maybe y'all can, maybe Braytak will be able to provide a military detail for us or something like that. And supplement some of his people. And that way we have more characters. We build out that world. The world building's there. The Ori messed Chulak up pretty bad. That's right. It didn't get destroyed, but they.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think it's not in good shape, but I think they're rebuilding or whatever. Well, that might be rebuilt now, 15 years later or whatever. But,
yeah. Hopefully it's rebuilt to a degree, but no, that got wiped pretty good by the you could even say that it was wiped in biblical proportions with their religion aspects of everything. Spin's asking, did Michael Shanks piss in the writer's coffee? They sure like killing him off over and over. Yes and no. I don't know if you know that or not, but he asked to be written off and then asked to come back. And so on.
But they're saying like the multiple times or whatever. And
it's hilarious. I think it just ends up becoming an ongoing joke. I mean,
and they make him the, is it Kenny from that cartoon?
Oh, yeah.
They make him like that.
It would be amazing if, what would be the coolest? Please do this just for Sarah and I. Anybody that over at MGM, whenever you make new Stargate, please open up on a shot of Daniel Jackson in Antarctica, so he has a reason for this. But we need him to have an orange giant parka hoodie on, closed with a very little tiny front, so he looks like Kenny, just for a moment. Just for a moment.
Right.
And he would go inside and he opens up his hoodie, and it's or his hood, whatever it might be, and it's Dr. Daniel Jackson again.
Yeah.
That'd be great. It'd be funny, be inside joke, and the Colorado stuff. Colorado folk. I mean, we might not be in Colorado for the new series for SGC itself, but wherever we may be, have a Colorado reference. And what's a better reference than South Park for Colorado? You bastard! You killed Kenny. He slips on a railing and falls down, hits his head, and the opening to Stargate, the new stuff, is Dr. Daniel Jackson ascending again. Just Oma Dasala sees him. She says, "I know I said it was your last time, but that was just too stupid. Just again,
we have to send you back."
That would be great.
But you can't have Stargate without Daniel Jackson, right? He's like the whole thing. I mean, come on.
That's the thing. Every time people ask, or you just start thinking about it, I'm like, who's my favorite character? It's Daniel Jackson. It simply is. Like,
it is. Like he's kind of like the soul of it. It's the best way to put it. It's like something would be missing if he wasn't there. It's like, and it kind of was during season 6. You can kind of see. I mean, Jonas was fine. It wasn't horrible, but it just was like.
I'm a big fan of Jonas. I really like Jonas, but you can. It's that. It's nice to know, I guess, while you're watching. It would have sucked, I guess, watching it while it was going for the very first time. But in the retrospective watch, it's kind of like, we know he's still there. We know he's ascended at this time. So I guess whenever I watch the Jonas stuff, it's not like the soul's missing, which is good, which is really good. And props to Corinne Nimick, who just followed Sidetrack on Twitter. He could be watching right now. And me on Twitter. We might have to get you over for an interview or something. If you ever have anything to promote, come say howdy, my friend. But anyway, I'm a big fan of him, and I think he didn't necessarily. There was like that soulful element of Stargate that wasn't inherently there anymore. The team was still the team, and it was still kicking and doing everything fun.
Yeah.
I think Cunningham and Jonas were just fine, but it wouldn't necessarily have been fine if Daniel Jackson had just been killed off. Because then it would have been like, oh, okay, we just replaced him completely. It's like, obviously, the character is being used as a placeholder here.
Right.
But thankfully had enough of a story the half a season beforehand and the couple episodes into the seventh season, I believe, where it's like, okay, all right. This is nice.
Right.
Also, Hattie Stanley's.
Yeah. Season 6 ended up being kind of like a nice bridge between like the first 5 seasons and like the last 5 seasons, I guess you could say. But yeah. It kind of ended up working out kind of, because then like Daniel comes back and he's more, I don't know, there's more to him when he comes back, So.
The more I think about it, because David just said, no, Teal'c is the heart of the show, in my opinion. I would agree. I think Daniel Jackson's the soul of the show, and Teal'c is the heart of the show. Because in the first episode, in Children of the Gods, you get why Teal'c is the heart of the show. We're almost, as the audience, we're almost Teal'c for the first couple seasons. Because you're kind of getting, he doesn't know anything about what's going on. He's just kind of, these are humans. These are people. I'm not killing them anymore. What do I do? And you're kind of just following in his, not in his footsteps, of course, but you're paralleling his journey in a way. I definitely think he's the heart of the show because of that. Because you can make the argument that Jack's the heart of the show, that O'Neill is.
Right.
He's just not. And that is not a dig on RDA. That's not a dig on the character of O'Neill at all. At the end of the day, though, and they prove it. I don't think it would be this way if Ben Browder hadn't have come in and done a good job later on. But Jack's not necessary. As amazing as RDA is and how badass the character of Jack O'Neill is, and of course they even name a ship after him, the Asgard, but he's not the heart of the show. He's not the soul of the show or the brains of the show, because Sam's the brains of the show.
Right.
I don't know if that's
more the strategist, the leader, the strategist.
Is he the stomach?
Dad, Yeah.
Like you get butterflies in your stomach and turn around, or you say, I've got that guff in there, let's go.
Right.
Or is he more your liver? You listen to it whenever you need to listen to it.
Yeah. Well, Sam is definitely the brains, she's the...
And that's definitely
a lot of heart as well, so...
She's got a huge heart. And so does Daniel Jackson. But I definitely would say that Teal'c is that heart, because he is pure good versus evil, and almost not an incompetent. What's the word I'm looking for? In almost a too sincere of a way. I'm thinking whenever the Jaffa rebellion starts, and who's the evil? I forget whichever Gould is in the episode that is pretending to be the leader of the Jaffa rebellion.
Oh, yeah.
Because you remember Teal'c immediately is like, this guy's good. Like, SG-1, like, I love you guys. You're amazing. You are like my newfound family, but these are my species. These are my people. I have to go help my people. Naive. He almost has his heart. He wears his heart on his chest in almost a naive way. And that's why he's so willing to barrel into battle all the time. Where I don't think Jack ends up being the heart, because he doesn't wear his heart on his sleeve, and he is more of a strategist at the end of the day. He likes to pretend he's the heart, maybe. He likes to show that. That's what he is, not necessarily a facade, but that's where he holds himself, I guess. But Teal'c really is that heart. And I think Jack's conversations with Teal'c throughout the series probably...
Right. It would have been...
Emotep, yeah.
I would have liked more of exploration of like kind of Jack and Teal'c's relationship, because they kind of immediately like connected. He was like, this is a good guy. I want him on my team. He like just immediately had that connection. It'd be interesting if they would have explored that a little more.
Well, the funny saying that comes to my mind is not like a saying per se, but it's Al Pacino going, it's in the eyes, Chico, or whatever the actual line is. Like, you can see it in their eyes. Of course, RDA in that scenario isn't looking up Teal'c and seeing if you can see it in his eyes, but he is in the sense of, are you going to do the right thing here? And I guess he does that, and it's a beautiful moment in its own way. So is O'Neill the penis of the show, Mark?
In a way, yeah.
Kind of. He is really smart, but he's not nearly as smart as the brains of the operation. So he technically is the second brain. Second head, you might say. But yeah, we'll stick with stomach or gonads of the bunch. Hey, the gonads of the bunch, he could get that. He is the chutzpah of the bunch. There we go.
Oh yeah.
Does that mean after season 7, or does that mean after 9, 10, or 8, 9, 10 without him? Does that mean he's been snipped?
9 and 10, basically. I don't know. I guess Ben Browder is supposed to be that.
Yeah, he comes in there, but he's and Browder doesn't necessarily bring that. Oh, he does it so well because he's so Jack-like, but also not self-confident in the same way. But it's not self-confident in the way that he's not confident. He's not self-confident in the sense of, I know I'm not Jack O'Neill. He knows he's better than just about anybody else, but he knows he's not Jack O'Neill. He's like,
Jack is very cynical. Mitchell, or is it Mitchell? Yeah, Mitchell, not so much. He's more Boy Scout. Than O'Neill is.
Where I feel like Shepard's pretty Boy Scout as well. For the most part. There are times when he's not so much. That's where that Mensa stuff pops up. But he typically is.
Right.
And just to bring it back to the whole, can Stargate happen in that militaristic form? If you have characters that the hard part is, of course, because we know these characters from a decade of it. So we know that they're not just these cookie cutter military things, but they start off pretty cookie cutter in a lot of ways.
Oh, yeah.
It's doable to have these levels of a character, be introduced to these characters and have levels there immediately. It's much more difficult to do. The Penguin is a show that's done it recently. Like, you jump into it, obviously you've had Oswald Cobblepot, but nobody else really in that show was seen prior to that. And they really make you feel that everybody has a history. It's not just military guy B over here and we'll fill in his backstory over the next season or two.
Yeah.
They have a backstory when they enter the room. And not just they know it, but all the other characters around them know it. And it correlates with their backstories. That's what we would need to see in a new show, and that is a big ask. But Brad Wright, even though he's not necessarily like a writer for that type of show, I believe is a talented enough writer to do so. Fergus and Hotspie sure can be. Maybe they don't hit the nail on the head 100% of the time, but a good amount of the time they do. And they definitely prove they can do that with The Expanse. You enter The Expanse, season 1, you're okay. This is something, but you know that these. You it's not even a no. You just feel it. You see the characters hop on screen, and you feel that they know their place in the world where they are right now. Whether they're like succinctly going to stay there or not, because obviously the whole what ship blows up in the first episode and they go to the Rocinante and all that. I can't think of it off the top of my head, but so on and so forth.
That's such
they're great examples.
Yeah.
What?
I just said that's such a good show. I almost want to watch it again. It's so good.
it's just,
Maybe make Stargate more like that. You know, I don't know. They kind of built a Stargate-y thing in the later seasons, right? That has multiple portals, whatever that thing was.
That's because they were such big fans of Stargate.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
so hopefully they get to be showrunners and stuff if they're not bringing... I mean, they should have Brad as a consultant at least, but I feel like the Expanse guys get it. Like, they could do it, you know?
I'm with you. Because I've seen people not necessarily be super gung-ho about them because of their past track record of... They haven't written too many things, and the things they did write weren't necessarily all great.
Mm-hmm.
But the things that have hit very, very, very well. Let's not forget The Expanse. Amazing, right? So a good enough show to be saved by Jeff Bezos himself. One of the richest people in the world was like, you know what? I'm not letting that stuff go by the wayside.
Yeah.
I'll put you over here.
Yep.
Whether those last two seasons are
more,
good.
But, well.
I know. This
I'll have to read the books. I haven't, like, you know... Well, by reading, I mean Audible, if that counts. I need to delve into that series.
My favorite way to read is if I can. It's too expensive most of the time, too. But if you can get the physical copy of the book and have the audio book at the same time, I'm in the world. I might as well have a TV screen in front of me because the inside of my brain is one at that moment, you know? The books are awesome. I have them on my bookshelf upstairs right now. They're really great. But Mark and Hawk saved The Expanse, and they could save Stargate in a big way. They really could. I don't remember where my point was with the whole Jeff Bezos coming in and swooping in and saving stuff, but whatever it was.
Swoop in, Stargate. Swoop in and save Stargate.
We just need someone to swoop in and prove that it can be done.
Mm-hmm.
Because it can be. We don't want it to. And you know, of course, Colin is an actor waiting for the phone to ring. So, and you know, I guarantee you, if he wanted to call a couple people and ask around and see what the level of Stargate coming back is, he could. But he's a working actor doing a whole bunch of other things, so that's not necessarily like a finger on the pulse for him kind of deal. He's living in his own world, doing Horizons with Kevin Costner right now. And everything else he's doing Crom 2 or Crom 3, I believe. He's doing a lot of little horror movies, independent films, et cetera, et cetera. That just because he, of course, and he's right with everything he says, that he doesn't. There are some very, very big hangups and holdups in bringing back Stargate correctly, or even at all. But from what we know, and of course, believe it or not, because there's the level of, you know, we go on and talk to people behind the scenes and stuff like that. So believe that or not, do what you will there. But personally, I know they're working on it and they're trying, and we keep telling you all that. So believe it or not, once again, I always preface with that. But they're trying behind the scenes, and we'll keep telling you and keeping you posted and all these kind of things. But they are trying. Which means that they're putting forth the effort to figure it out at the very least.
Right.
Whether they think it's too, not dangerous, but too whatever it may be to bring back at the end of the day.
Controversial or whatever,
controversial.
I don't know. It's just... Well, my other concern too is the fandom. You know, because a lot of people are like, "Well, if Brad's not involved, I'm not," and it's like, can we be open-minded? At least give it a shot, not shut it down and hate on it and then make it go away because everybody's hating on whatever so much. I mean, if it's truly horrible, that's one thing. But it's like, let's be open-minded and, like, you know, there are other people that can do it and do it well. And let's just have that hope and not just be looking to, like, crap on it because it's not what we think it should be, you know.
1,000%. Like, you know what comes to mind after that is the Star Wars versus Star Trek debate.
Exactly.
Like, the one thing I tried to be, which, you know, whatever those polls say right now or said for the 20 minutes, 30 minutes we had them open, yada yada yada. I think overall. And I know that the Trekkies, which are probably most people here, probably won't think that, but I think the comments over time will show that I probably ended up winning the debate, just because I didn't have to start my arguments with, this has no meaning, this has no depth or anything like that. And I'm not poo-pooing Jamie or anything like that, but it is a very fun thing where that's what we're doing in debate. But we're trying to debate about it in a good way. That's not necessarily the approach I would have taken, and it's not the approach I took. First of all, I don't know Star Trek well enough to delve into all the nitty-gritty aspects of it. But Jamie doesn't know Star Wars well enough to dig into it the way he did either, and I wasn't going to do that. I wasn't going to do that to Star Trek. And one thing that we always say when we're even talking about that debate, or even start talking about Star Wars versus Star Trek, or who's the bigger, better one, or who's more sci-fi, whatever the actual question is, we always end with, well, Stargate's still the best. Let's keep it that way. Let's not have this Star Wars, Star Trek fandom civil war that's going on. Screw the politics. Why are we bringing that into it? It's inherently part of the shows, no matter what. Star Wars is inherently political. Star Trek's inherently political. They have to. Different factions of these people are talking to different factions of government to go do these different things, or are rebels in their own little leadership, which end up becoming government and setting up different forms of government. It's inherently baked into the story. We don't need to supersede our personal things onto it all the time like that, which people love to do, and that's a thing for everything. But let's just make Stargate a happy place to be. Not a happy place to be, but a realistic one. I don't want to necessarily throw a facade on there, but let's just be realistic. And as long as we're that, and I know I'm on my soapbox right now, but it shouldn't have. We shouldn't feel the need to delve into the back and forthness that the ST and the SW tend to.
Right. Well, I always thought it's kind of difficult to I just always thought it was kind of odd that people compare them anyway, because they're just completely different things. I don't get why people want to always compare. It's Star Wars is in the past, Star Trek's in the future. Star Wars is very, fantasy, epic story. Star Trek is more kind of,
well, and one's very family oriented, and one's very individually oriented, where you have to watch this for yourself for the most part, versus the others let's watch it with the family. They're just so the doggedness is not necessarily great, and I hope that we've taken the right steps, because I guess the divide of the Stargate fandom in the past has been okay, and it's really been between the who I'm talking about, the larger factions of the Stargate YouTube channels, and the difference in the past has been, we're willing to more talk about the rumors and things of the sort, where others wait for a succinct, this is happening, or this has been reported by Deadline or Hollywood Reporter, Variety, whoever it may be. Yeah. But then again, we've talked that out. We've talked that through. We're all right with one another. Everyone's all right with one another. Stargate just needs to happen at this point. And I think everybody that is I think we've all kind of accepted that we approach things differently. Cool. And I like that. I like that we have now, as a Stargate community, it's taken a couple years. But before the show, shows and movies and shows, whatever it may be, ends up even in production, I'm very happy, very satisfied that we as a fandom of at least the larger creators for it have said, screw the Star Wars, Star Trek, visceral just aggravation against one another.
Right. It's just another, you're into science fiction or whatever. And it's so you like Star Wars, you like Star Trek. I mean, you might like one more than the other, but it's they're different things. You can love them all.
I think one thing that really, really helps with Stargate in doing that, and that's where I'll take back the Stargate happy fan base. Woo! Okay, let's be realistic. But that's what we should be. Stargate is realistic and not not happy-go-lucky versus the other two, where Star
Right.
Wars might try to be happy-go-lucky and doesn't always succeed.
Right.
Star Trek might have the ideal of happy-go-lucky in a way, but shows it to you in more of a scientific manner. And whether they actually hit that nail on the head or not, it's kind of hard to say a lot of times, because they are spread out over these generations in a way where the best thing I feel like Stargate has going for it in a way is that it is a generational thing. It lasted essentially 20 years. Two generations of TV viewers have watched it,
Right.
And now my generation, and hopefully even a younger generation than me, hopefully the 18 and younger kids start getting into Stargate.
Right. Their parents are introducing them to it.
Yeah. But like instead of a Star Wars or a Star Trek where it's like, let me introduce you to my Star Wars, the original trilogy, or my Star Wars, the prequel trilogy, or I'll introduce in my Star Wars. I grew up in the 80s or late 80s, so I only had the books, or like whatever it may be. Yeah. Or Star Trek, I couldn't necessarily give you the exact timeline for those shows or movies, but same kind of deal. Stargate lucked out in a big way by those shows, especially with SGA having a little bit of a time overlap with SG1 and a little bit of a time overlap with SGU. Not so much with SGU, but a little bit at least. Right. There was 20 years or 17 years worth of stuff that happened within a two-generational span of TV viewers. So you have that multitude of people, not my Stargate here, my Stargate here. You still have my Stargate's SG1, my Stargate's SGA, or my Stargate's SGU. But there's the overlap. And of course, Star Wars and Star Trek are starting to do a lot of overlap, but that's been a recent thing where that was inherently baked into Stargate, where it's more realistic. Whether it doesn't, long story short, off the soapbox again after this, but like it's not the original trilogy. It's not the prequel trilogy. It's not, the original series. It's not, I'm a Deep Space Nine. I'm a Star Trek Discovery, whatever it is. It's not da-da-da-da-da. It's da-da-da-da-da all together in that case, I guess, to continue that little metaphor. You can pick and choose which one your favorite is, like we all do, naturally.
Yep.
But thankfully, those characters were already crossing into the other stuff. They are inherently layers of the same cake. It's a big old wedding cake. SG1 is the bottom of it. SGA is your middle layer. SGU is the top, and all your little dressings on top of it are Continuum, the original film. The original film is probably the base the cake is sitting on, and then all the little dressings are your Infinity, Stargate Origins, all the little tiny things, Stargate Timekeepers, and all the other things there are. But so on and so forth. That's the end of my rant, my tirade, my soapbox there. SG1's the comfort food. But does that make sense? Where I feel like Stargate as a fandom can do better, has done better.
Yeah.
And not for the happy-go-lucky aspect of it, but like we're realistic with it. We're not always happy with one another, but we talk it out. We don't necessarily say, "Well, you're not a real Star Wars fan. You're not a real Star Trek fan."
Right.
Like,
I wish that would go away.
Yeah.
Stargate's kind of its own thing. I mean, you can kind of, and I wish it got more top, because it's sort of like Star Trek, Star Wars, Stargate should be listed there too. It's just, like you said, sleeping giant. It's a thing of like, there's tons of people out there that are into it, that love it, that want it. And it's like frustrating. They don't just get it done,
Oh, 1,000%.
I mean, we've had all these hiccups with COVID and strikes and blah, 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 blah. So it's like, hopefully, finally, it's like somebody just like grow a pair and do something.
Well, that is for real. Like during the Rona and during the strikes and all these different things, we know that they at least We know since 2019 they've been thinking about it. Brad Wright put a whole thing together since 2019. So
he wrote a script. Yeah.
Whether Fergus and Otsby started in 2020 or 2021 with Amazon after MGM was bought out and everything went said and done.
Uh-huh.
And I get it. I get it from the Hollywood perspective, the studio perspective of, okay, well, these things are going on. We can't be making film or TV in the sense that we usually do during the pandemic or during the strikes, because you can still make some things during that time period, but you're not getting things greenlit. You're not talking to people about stuff.
Mm-mm.
Well, you know what? You have a team like Fergus and Otsby at that point. Why, instead of, kind of saying, hey, should we do this? Should we do this? How should we do this? How should we do this? Instead of doubling back, double down, and let them write 2 or 3 seasons of something. Let them be so prepared by the time something's going off. Well, I guess technically they're not supposed to be writing during the writer's strike as well. That could have been a hiccup there. But we know they are. Writers during writer's strike write more than they do outside of a writer's strike. Because it makes sure they have a job whenever they get back, so
yeah, it's like I just happen to have this script that I wrote last night that they've been working.
It's been on the back burner for a couple years, actually. Why didn't you make it to me last year? You needed the other stuff first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, one of those weird things that everybody knows what people are really doing, but nobody says it out loud.
One of those definitely not doing this right now. Yeah,
exactly.
I do have to, just because you mentioned it. Isn't Stargate Timekeepers the part of the cake that falls on the floor? Yes, it is.
I would agree.
Yes, it is.
No, I watched that stream when you tried to play it, and it was like, oh my god.
I
just didn't even get what the point was. It was just kind of like, what? Anyway.
No, like, if you're gonna do something like that, okay, there we go. This was going all different directions. I was like, I don't know what I'm doing with this beanie here. Timekeepers, there we go. I don't get the thought process behind that at all. Like, at all. $20 for a game that I wouldn't pay $2 for on a phone. And if it was going to be a game, it should have been a phone game. It is made to be a phone game, not a point and click. And if you're going to spend the time to put something like that on Steam or wherever, it's a point and click. Like that's an internet game. Go on to Armor Games or 123games.com, like when you're 10, 12 years old or something like that, and then play a little game that's just on the interweb or on the internet, like that's not a game I think morally you can charge people for and feel good about. And that's one of the things that I really hold up on it as well, is not even that it's not a good game, because it's not. Maybe it's not as bad of a game as I give it credit as being, but they don't give you the goodwill to make you want to go far enough to see it. I did watch probably 20 minutes of David's stream. I don't remember if it was Wormhole Extreme or Dial the Gate. One of his channels was doing the Stargate Timekeeper stuff. I think it was Wormhole.
I thought about watching it, but
yeah, I caught like maybe 15, 20, 25 minutes of it, and I was like, oh, I love y'all, David, Evie, everybody, y'all are awesome. Love listening to y'all, but this is boring. Just. And not them. Their talk is fine. Richu Charlie was there. He was really cool to talk to for a little bit. It's just like Timekeepers, y'all. I don't know who thought it was a smart idea to do that. But
maybe they knew it sucked, and they were just like, it works. Let's just get it out there, make what money we can, and like whatever. They knew it was bad. They just wanted to dump it and get as much money back as they could.
$2 for it, not $20. I don't know.
Right.
They could have gotten 10 times the amount of people to. Sure, I guess we got the free version of it to play at first and all that in the demo kind of time period.
Yeah.
But if you're charging $20 for that, $20 is. That's lunch or dinner, or that's a few other things I'd rather spend that on. I would be much more willing to play further into it, even with as boring as it is.
Right.
If it was $2. If it was $2, that Stargate Timekeeper stream would have gone on for another 2 or 3 hours saying, you know what? This is something people can actually like. It's not afford. $20 isn't something that like. But once again, like, hey, if you got to spend $20 on something, I'd rather spend it on sustenance than timekeepers or whatever it may be. Yeah, that's an interesting one. I saw a couple Space Above and Beyond, JMS, MJS. What's going on up here? It would seem to me that over the years, fandom across the genre of programming is so vast and active. Yeah, for right and wrong, not right and wrong, for good and bad, I guess, and indifferent, all the above. Starscape SG1 is saying, Colin is correct. In our modern climate, a Stargate show would look nothing like the Stargate we know and love, and no one wants that. Well, like we were just talking about, it could totally end up being more of a, maybe it is Stargate SG1 in essence, but Stargate Atlantis in approach.
Right.
There are ways they could do it without being so hyper militaristic. So the modern, producers and people that would be greenlighting it would be more willing to do so, without it being like military. Like as much as I love it, it's totally military propaganda. Like it is the definition of, whenever TV was originally like put together and it was called TV programming, this would be your TV programming to join the military. You'll love it. But I think obviously the internet has kept us. The internet lets us know exactly what something is a lot of the times. Sometimes you have to do a little bit more looking into it to figure that out because every angle from everywhere can be tossed at something. But we could, and people, it's not like SG1 was making people go out to join the military in droves. I'm sure it helped to a degree. And I'm pretty sure they have numbers where it did help to a degree, but it's like a 1 or 2% thing. It's not like a SG1's out. Let's get 10% of the youth into the military now. Like, it's not something like that. But nowadays, even if it were to do like true SG1 and bring it back to like the military aspect of stuff, I still think it would be harder for a studio to digest it, but as an audience, we would digest it fine, I think.
Yeah, I think that sometimes, I don't know if I want to say the entertainment industry or media or whatever, like Twitter isn't America. It's like there's only like a small percentage of people that even like the majority of Americans are not what's going on Twitter. And I think a lot of people make the mistake of thinking that like, oh, Twitter is America. That's what it's not, and I think, you got to look at what like this average everyday person is, not what Twitter or social media is saying.
Yeah. Twitter, Facebook, wherever it is, like that's not, to bring it back to Stargate versus Star Wars and Star Trek. Right. It's realistic versus, just not a facade as well. But Star Trek and Star Wars have an aesthetic they're trying to go for, and Stargate has an aesthetic that works within every aesthetic because it is real. Like it can actually,
it's based in more in like now. It's not the past or the future or some made up world. It's this is Earth. This is how our military maybe would handle this situation. And I never. I know like Stargate was very like based in the military world and stuff, but I never felt like it was too overly military to me. Maybe that's just me, but I was more into the stories and what they were doing. I wasn't really thinking about it that it was in a military setting.
1,000%. I watch it for I watch it for a bunch of reasons, but the world building aspect of it is what really just tickles my fancy. Is just
there's just endless possibilities of things. It's just
And hell, one way or another, maybe the U.S. military would pay him to make Stargate because they do need recruitment one way or another.
yeah.
Let's go make it. No kidding. Let's not do that. But still, like, howdy, Tony. So
Tony.
I was laughing and I was like, what am I supposed to say? Hello. Social media outlets focuses on the extremes of society. Totally.
Exactly. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I guess there's some Babylon talk up here, but timekeepers, yeah, take it or leave it. But no, yeah. I'm with you where it is inherently militaristic, but it's not like it truly focuses on it. And if it would feel more like it were that if Jack O'Neill broke the fourth wall at some point and looked at the camera and said, "I want you to join the United States Air Force" or something. But,
yeah,
I think we'll be all right. I don't think they're going to lean into, by technical definition, it is propaganda to some level, some degree, but I don't think they're going to be leaning into that. They didn't lean into it in the first one anyway.
Yeah, no, I don't. It's just that's the setting. It's not what the focus is, I don't think.
Yeah. Melvin. At least in new Stargate, Elon would have saved billions. True. What Stanley's Musfaga?
Yeah, that would be good.
That'd be really nice.
That's a hat we need to have.
Yeah, Musfaga. Can we go off on just borrow some merch ideas? I guess there.
Yeah.
Deadpool versus Wolverine destroyed the fourth wall. We need a bigger, stronger one. Oh, I don't know if y'all are MCU people at all, and I won't jump on it too long. It's just funny you say this, but that new Wonder Man series with Yahya Abdul-Mateen, who I love as an actor, it sounds, if the reports are correct, once again, you got to wait to see him to believe them. But if the reports are correct, we definitely need a bigger fourth wall. Or maybe it's going to be great, because apparently he's going to be playing himself in the show, and then he was trying to get a role within the MCU. So he goes to Marvel Studios and then meets the Kevin little robot from the She-Hulk show, and it shoves him into like the actual MCU, which could be cool, but that's fourth wall as can be. So we'll see. Look, Tony, what's he saying? He just popped in. So what's he thinking? Stargate isn't a military sci-fi any more than Army Wives was. Stargate uses a military much like Star Trek does. It's a crew of people working together towards a goal. That's true. That's true. SG-1, not as much necessarily. I mean, it is a group of people working together for a goal, but it definitely is. I think SG-1 is military sci-fi, where SGA and SGU have inherently military aspects to them, but aren't. SG-1, by technicality, I think would be. But they don't get hung up on it, which is nice.
No. Yeah, it doesn't seem like they're like, like you were saying, they're recruiting or whatever. It's like,
which I want you to go watch the Colin Cunningham interview, please, please, please.
It was good. I watched it. I like how Jay did that. Maybe you could do. I don't know if could do a couple more of those with different aspects of the interview. I don't know.
I think we might have a couple little points. Especially with the Stargate stuff, we might be able to bring into a little more Hollywood in general, similar to the Hollywood not being able to do the things it has in the past because it's not focused on the creatively driven shows, more so the by the numbers. Like you said at the beginning, the administrative kind of approach that shows tend to take or companies tend to take now. Yeah, it's an interesting animal. It's fun to navigate. I don't know if fun's the right word. Fun to witness navigation of. Actually trying to get them to hire you out here, not so fun to navigate.
No. Maybe you have to move to Salt Lake City or whatever.
Yeah. Howdy, Scott. I don't know. him saying that, I was like, you know what? Maybe I should go back down to Austin or DFW or a little something for a little bit. But you know, you can make it out in California, you can make it anywhere. Is my thought. So I'm here for a little while at least.
Mhm.
Shoot, give me a reason to go somewhere. Come on, come on, Stargate, be that reason.
I mean, I lived in California for 20 years. I mean, not LA, but so I get it. Yeah.
You got the pretty part of California.
No, Sacramento. It's okay.
Oh, okay. I thought, was it Sacramento proper or a little north of Sacramento?
I actually lived a little south of Sacramento.
Okay.
But I mean, it's all connected. Yeah. So.
What are we talking about tonight, Scott? Well, it's an hour and a half in, so probably not a whole bunch more.
We're just kind of jabbering.
We're just jabbering a little bit at this point. The main thought and idea of it was, of course, we announced that the Stargate Atlantis charity marathon stream is pushed back a little bit at the beginning of this. We're looking at maybe not this Saturday, but next Saturday, just depending on when everybody can get times together and actually hang out, and maybe make it a little bit more interesting than simply a watch party. You know, make it engaging so we can have something like worth donating to have for these organizations that are helping people across the globe. You know,
Right.
And we're thinking the Spanish floods are probably the thing we're going to be donating to. So if y'all have any good ideas for that, holler, please.
Yeah.
But besides that, we're talking how the Colin Cunningham interview that I had a couple weeks back that we released last week, Jamie put out, or Jay, I guess, put out a video yesterday detailing kind of a little further about a point that Colin made, how Stargate can't come back in the capacity that it was. It can't be that pro-military, simply inspirational for humanity. We're more into like, and you know what? I love apocalyptic stuff, but we're definitely more into nowadays. So civilization crumbled, and this is where we are now, you know? And where Stargate does the opposite. It's like civilization could crumble any time throughout what's going on here, but we're making damn sure it doesn't, you know? And that's kind of what Stargate heralds into it. And he's just not sure that can be made in the same manner, in the same, not aesthetic necessarily, but in the same vein as it was back in the day. That not happy-go-lucky once again, but a realistic but optimistic outlook on what can happen, which it'd be nice to see. Hey, Tony, thank you. It was a really fun one. It was really enjoyable. Before we jump out of here, do y'all have any other, I guess, questions for Sarah and I? If you have any questions about the interview itself, Colin Cunningham as a human being, because he was a pretty damn cool fella, I'd have to say. Ask Sarah questions about Brit and that amazing sci-fi mind that is helping just ask some of the best questions we've gotten, and not to mention probably building a sci-fi household over there with the two of them. They are. My assumption is, and assuming makes an ass out of you and me, of course. But I am assuming here that Brett did go to Mensa, and he is the Jack O'Neill, and you're the Samantha Carter of the household, and it actually worked out. Not anti-military, but like neither. It was a timeline where neither joined the military and both did cool sci-fi things anyway.
Right. Well, my husband was in the military.
Oh, never mind. He left for you. This is the timeline Jack O'Neill left.
Yeah.
Where's the toothbrush? He left the toothbrush. What did Brad Wright say in there?
Oh, that was how like was it going to be the new script that he wrote was going to open up like they had been together and broke up or whatever, and here's your toothbrush back, and it like just saying here's your toothbrush back like said all that in one line. It was kind of cool. Just great writing there. Yeah. My husband is a good writer. He actually, anyway, he's written some stuff. He actually is like kind of working on writing a book when he has time, but work kind of runs him. But I don't know if he'll, but anyway, he probably is going to get mad at me for saying that.
Is it sci-fi oriented? Are you allowed to say?
More fantasy.
Okay.
So, yeah.
That's. Hey,
I mean, if
sci-fi-
he could choose, like, what would be his ultimate job would be to be a writer. You know?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, no way. That's cool. I'm with it. I'm writing and producing. Like, I love all this stuff, but put me behind the camera. Hey, in front of the camera is fun and stuff, but like, let me just help the world out a little bit. That world building stuff is so much fun. That's so cool. Do you ever get to like? Do you pick his brain about his world? Do you know his world yet, or?
Yeah, he's shown me. He actually did some AI designs of characters and things, and he's kind of been working on that. But I don't know if he's worked on it much lately. I'm trying to encourage him to do this, so I've got to bug him about like finding time to work on this.
Hey, well, you know what? You can tell him to rewind it right here, and I'll say, Brett. Even if you do get a little mad at Sarah for saying this on air, we are now holding you to it, and we want to be the first interview that you give for the book whenever it releases. We will get Stormy to do the book interview. We'll do the Colin Cunningham. I can't even say his name now. Wow, Colin Cunningham interview where we had all of our little faces on the screen at the very end. But Stormy will do the main interview because he's our bookmeister over here. And I'd like to be a bookmeister. You know what? After last weekend or Sunday, when Stormy said he'd gotten rid of all of his physical books, I think I might have a more ornate library than Stormy. And it's probably the only year it'll ever happen. Stormy will move somewhere else and build a new library somewhere. It'll be phenomenal. But yeah, no, that would be really fun. Melvin's writing a sci-fi novel again. Well, you're welcome whenever it's time for you to publish that thing.
Oh, yeah.
We'll get a Brett and Melvin stream and say, we'll do a debate with Brett and Melvin, and we'll say, is it harder to write a fantasy novel or a sci-fi novel? No, that's so cool, though. That's so cool. Keep us posted if he wants and is willing to, of course.
Yeah. I don't think he's expecting it to do anything. He just wants to, for the love of it, you know.
That's the only reason we can do it. But now we're 32,000 strong, and we'll be 50,000, 75,000, 100,000 strong by the time it's ready. And we'll scream it by the rooftops.
I mean, how could we not? We're all so awesome.
That we have like cool like actual podcasts that we can do besides, I guess, Sci-Fi Sundays is now a podcast, and we've kind of like made it official. But now we have like
we're officially official.
Yeah, we're officially official. And as we became officially official, we lost our merchandise page, but we're working on it. I promise, y'all.
We're working on it. Anyway, I did buy my Emerald City Comic Con tickets. I'm only going. Well, it's a 4-day thing. I'm only going for the Saturday. My daughter and I are going to go. But,
when is Emerald City Comic Con?
First weekend in March. Let me pull up my calendar here.
Is that Seattle?
Yeah. Yeah, it's in Seattle, at the Seattle Convention Center, I think. It's the 6th through the 9th, I think. I'll be there just on the 8th, but yeah. So if anybody's in the area, you might see me there if you're there that day.
Hey, well, you're making me think out loud real quick. This might be laundry to do later. Add it to the laundry list. But we should hopefully be able to get you in there for free. We should be able to get some press passes and stuff like that. If y'all wanted to do that for like a weekend or something, and then if anything cool gets announced or talked about there, you know, I'll send you my GoPro. Just walk around with it or something, you know.
My eyes out. I think it seems like it's going to be Star Trek heavy. I think Anson Mount's going to be there and some other, other Trek people. But I'll have to check and see if they've added any more guests. But
if it's in March,
I've never been to a Comic-Con. This is my first time even ever being at one.
So you're gonna love it.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, I wish I could go like all the days. I mean, I'll try to. Maybe the year after that I can go like try to do like a whole. But I can only make it the one day this year, or this coming one. But Yeah, I'm kind of excited. We'll see what happens. I mean, that's why I want some merch so I can wear a t-shirt that has our stuff list, so people can find us and, be walking around with that on, at least for that day. That's usually the biggest day. So
we will be kicking by March for sure.
Mhm.
Yeah, no, just let me know, or not let me know. I
Mhm.
guess Emerald City Comic-Con. I just need to remember that,
Yeah.
and I'm gonna apply for a press pass for the whole weekend, one way or another. But even that way, you can just go whatever day you're actually able to go, and
Right.
hopefully we can get you all in there for free. That'd be fun. And if anything cool happens that day, just put a camera real quick and set.
Yeah, I was hoping that maybe there would be some Stargate thing, but no. But
honestly, you're a Trekkie, and that for your first con to be Trek heavy would be really cool. Because that way you're like, this is the world like I've known I haven't been able to get into just yet, but this is it. These are like all not necessarily like-minded fellas and everything like that, but like it's like-minded folk of the world nonetheless. It's just fun. It's a fun place to be.
Yeah, I want to check out, all the cosplay stuff. Will be fun to see. So.
Really fun. I mean, I would always love a little sidetrack brand exposure, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But it is really fun to cosplay. You should, if you maybe not for your first time, but
right,
it's worth it. It took me 3 years of going to Comic Cons until my buddy, who is a professional cosplayer, Nick, the guy that did all the Acolyte stuff with us, who's got 3.5-4 million people on TikTok.
Right.
Fancy all that guy. Well, he's a professional cosplayer, I guess, and finally gave me that Wolverine suit to wear last year. And I gotta at least cosplay once a weekend every time I go to a Comic Con now. Like it's just it's fun. It seems stupid, but you're just walking around and everyone's being stupid together and having a good time. And not even that, it's like it's not stupid, that's not the right word, but it just feels silly to be walking around in costumes kind of for the whole freaking day. But then you're in the environment with everybody and it's great.
Yeah, there's other people doing it, so it's cool. Yeah.
Well, that's not even the part that's like great about it. It is a lot of fun. It's heartwarming whenever there's kids, families there, and they're like, well, tug on your shoulder.
Kind of what the it just made me think of the Companion, because that's kind of their thing of like how there's like that community and support and stuff among nerds.
Yeah, legitimately though, and it's so nice because you'll just get that little kid tug on your costume real quick, or a parent say, "Hey, can we take a photo with you real quick?" Or just some nerdy. I'm about to use some colorful language there, but I cuss like a sailor. My bad.
We can use colorful language. I
know. I
actually do swear quite often. It's just when I'm on here, like that switches off in my brain for some reason. And anyway, I'm afraid that I don't want to get the channel in trouble by saying something.
After I think it's either 2 or 3 minutes into the video, we can cuss as much as we want to. Thankfully, there are a couple words that they're iffy about, like "see you next Tuesday."
Well, yeah, I mean clearly, but I mean. Like F-bombs,
yeah, they don't care about. Oh fuck! For the sake of it, at this point, like legit, literally laughed out loud right after that.
I should cosplay as a Wraith Queen. I don't know if I have to do the makeup.
That would be really cool.
Yeah, I did do Trinity as a Halloween costume once. It was a while ago, but. I was a good Trinity. Well, I had darker hair, but I bought like a Matrix costume, and I was a pretty good Trinity. Awesome. I wish I had a picture of it somewhere, but I think I did at one point. I just had to find it. But
you go as Trinity to a Comic-Con, you're gonna have everybody walking around. Can I take a photo? Can I take a photo? Yeah. That'd be really cool. Trinity would be perfect, and the Wraith Queen would be really cool too.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
That's one of the fun things. I didn't think cosplaying, once again, we'll get into like, it is silly. It is inherently silly, but it's so fun in that silliness, Like, Wolverine's not somebody I would have cosplayed, and it's not someone I really would cosplay again necessarily. But
Right.
now, like that I've done it, it's like, who's someone I would though? Who's someone that like fits me a little bit, you know? And now I'm like, well, I could do maybe a Green Arrow or a Jonah Hex or something like that.
Yeah, Green Arrow would be good because like
I always get that just because the goatee and
yeah,
like,
and he has the blonde hair and stuff too. So yeah.
I could be Green Arrow at the beginning of the series when he's stuck on the island.
Yeah, just dressed
Just
like
devil all the time.
Easy to do. But anyway, yeah.
On that note, that's been a great episode of Stargate Outpost. That's actually great. I'd do that just for shits and giggles. Like that'd be really fun. But I guess just jumping back into costumes where I cut myself off earlier, I was going to say, anybody and everybody. See, I've never necessarily. I'm a Texas boy, and you know, I whatever you want to be called, I'll call you. Especially out in California, that's a thing. You know, especially with pronouns, et cetera, et cetera. But my pronoun for everybody that I talk to everybody, so I don't mess anything up, has always just been motherfucker. The only people that say motherfucker more than me on this planet are Sam Jackson and J-Rock from Trailer Park Boys. I'm pretty sure that's it. If we three had a podcast together, it would be primarily saying the word motherfucker over and over.
It would never be monetized.
No, it would not. It would not. Well, maybe Sam Jackson would help that bit, but like it would be hard to get monetized in that bit. They'd have to put us on HBO. But anyway, any crazy motherfucker you'd walk into a Comic-Con that's your age wearing some kind of cool costume would also be like doing that was the point at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Like people, not even just kids and families walking around, people our own age, any age, older, everything. They're all just, that's a really cool costume. Can I take a picture with you? Or how many hours did you spend on that? That's a question you hear a lot, and that's a really cool thing because then you just see people light up. They're like, I spent 140 hours on it, or I spent 600 hours on it, and you see just like that existentialism get into their eyes real quick. You're like,
they have a 3D printer and they print out all these, you know, especially the people that do those real elaborate, like, you know, like robot ones and stuff like that. It's like,
oh my God,
I could never do that. I mean, they take like a year or two to like build it or whatever, and then oh my God, okay.
And
I mean,
I
it's
guess
amazing, but
get that to a degree because they'll have 4 or 5 projects they're working on at a time and all that. But shoot, that's a lot. I mean, especially for a hobby. Props to them on a hobby like that, because if I were to do something like that, you're gonna have to pay me to be a prop builder. You know, like.
Oh yeah, or you're gonna have to, I don't know, make stuff for other people to make some money. I guess that would be what probably.
And I guess a lot of them actually do
cosplayers. I mean, you can go on Etsy and there's, you know, tons of stuff you can buy. Because I thought about maybe doing like a 7 of 9. Okay. You know, and you can buy like you know, the pieces that you stick on your face for her. You know, she's got that Borg tech on her forehead or whatever. But yeah.
Well, because they have like Etsy. I think is Etsy and what would be? I guess that's what I was going to say. Pinterest, but you don't buy things off of Pinterest. I guess just Etsy or Amazon or eBay would be a place because people sell that kind of stuff all the time. That's why I brought up that comment real quick because Iron Man suits galore whenever you're there, and the people that spend the time to engineer those things as well, just mechanize them even to small degrees. Oh, they're so cool. They're so cool, and they're totally selling.
Seeing that. So, yeah.
Well, I've got a 3D printer back here. I might need a little Matt or Chazz technical know-how to actually put it together. But whenever that is the case, I will be using that thing like nobody's business. Star Trek Lower Decks live-action movie thoughts? I haven't seen it. Sarah, have you gone into the Lower Decks realm?
No, my husband started watching it, and I'm like, I guess I need to watch it. But I need to watch that and Prodigy. And I mean, I've got my list. I've actually watched a few things. I'm almost done. I finished Silo season 1. And actually, next week, season 2 comes out, I think, of Silo. The 15th, I think, season 2 of Silo comes out.
It was mid-November. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I've almost watched all of Ahsoka, which space whales are awesome.
You're on Stormy and I's side now.
Yep.
Suck it, Jamie. We have a space whale team now.
What else did I watch? I forget. Anyway, still working through Defiance with my husband and Penguin. I got to watch the last whatever episode just came out. I haven't seen yet. But I meant to watch it yesterday, but just didn't have time to. So I'm getting through the backlog of things that I need to watch slowly. So now I got to watch. I don't know. I've been debating if I want to watch. Is it Agatha?
Yeah.
I'm not sure. Should I watch that?
It was actually good. It was good.
Okay.
Did you watch WandaVision?
Yes.
Okay. If you liked WandaVision, you'll like Agatha a whole lot.
Okay.
I enjoyed it in every step of the way. There were 2 episodes that whenever I'm talking to Jay, they're a little more like wine mom kind of episodes.
Right.
I don't know if you classify into the wine mom category, but they would one way or another. They're more not man unfriendly, but they're lady friendly episodes. They're made for the ladies. You know, we watch them. We're like, that's a good episode, but it's not like the one that grabbed us. I like the scary ghosts coming back and the witchy cool stuff like that. That's what gets me. But there's both of it. 2 episodes that kind of focus on that, but they're very pivotal in a overarching story kind of way. It's just a really good show overall. I think it might be their best show pound per pound overall. Which they haven't necessarily. I think it's good. It's not the old sci-fi, but it brings a good little witchy aspect to things, which I'm a fan of. I'm a big fan of. Well, we have the best viewership we've had the entire stream, right at kind of the tail end of the stream.
Right. They discovered we're here. Wow.
What were y'all doing for an hour?
We've been sitting here. Maybe we've become more interesting. I don't know. Anyway.
We've jumped on stuff.
I mean, not that we have to delve too deep into it, but do we have outside of the charity streams, and we kind of hit on some things, but what is the future of Stargate Outpost looking like? I guess we're still kind of figuring that out as we go.
Whatever we'd like, yeah.
If we wanted, do we want to do like a watch through and talk about episodes? But that could get kind of boring after a while. But I don't know. Maybe there's other just things we could highlight, like maybe other favorite episodes or moments or something. Anyway, we'll figure that out as we go.
That's the best name ever. Just saw her live.
Yeah.
I love that name. McPuffin Muffin. I'm going to start calling things McPuffin Muffins. I don't know. I don't know what they will be, but they'll be something. But yeah, no, I'm thinking it and obviously you and I will be the ones leading the charge on the Outpost, of course. Yeah. It's very manageable right now being an every other week podcast. It'd be fun for it to eventually be a weekly thing. I don't know if we want to do that come the new year or maybe like a quarter of the way into the new year or whatever it may be. But that might be something fun to think about. But we'll need a bunch of like kind of things to talk about in a way. Yeah. I'm thinking we almost use this as an exploration into Stargate in general, where, like we said, like what would be a species you saw introduced in Stargate that you want to see come back? Like fun days like that. But then maybe we actually do like a day where we've done a bunch of research and this is what the Unas, we talk only about the Unas today. And the Unas did this, and this. This is how their physiology is. This is how they function in society. This is what their society was like pre-Goa'uld, with the Goa'uld, post-Goa'uld.
Yeah.
So on and so forth. We could do that with different species. We could do that with just simply the Jaffa, the Lucian Alliance, people of different planets, the Asian, the Tolan. I think we almost use it as our personal not bibliography, encyclopedia.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we kind of that could be our goal, is the Stargate Outpost. This is the outpost that has all the knowledge of everything Stargate possible. And
Right.
whether we have it or not, we are going through the gate every week to find more of it.
Right. Yeah.
That just was off my head, but I'm going to use that again. Someone clip it and remind me I said those words, because I like the order I said them in.
Right. Maybe we could even put together, like, we want to talk about the Unis. Well, these are the 5 episodes that have the Unis in them, or however many it is. And maybe we not watch them, maybe we watch those beforehand, so we have that as reference in addition to whatever else,
I think that's the way to do it, is just find cool topics, delve a little bit into those topics, and just learn more about Stargate as it goes along, so we can be that encyclopedia for anybody that asks us. Because I mean, this will be really nice for us, particularly just knowing that we will be streaming, just talking stuff on Sci-Fi Sundays or whatever, and thankfully you're here to talk with us now too, so it's not just the 3 or 4 of us forever on end. Now we're building a team, which is badass and awesome, and that'll be good. I think it'll be really good for the 2 of us, particularly, and Matt whenever he's able to do it, because obviously we all know and love Stargate, but this will be really good for us to, by the end of it, whatever the end it might be, or if we ever actually do an end, we could go on in perpetuity, which would be cool. Because as long as we have people from Side Trek on here, we don't necessarily. If there's a week that we both have to miss, but we are desperate to have an Outpost episode, we could find people to do. If Matt's able to, and maybe Jay that week, or Chazz, or Greg, or whoever, Stormy. It'll be. I think a thing we can still do no matter what. But one way or another, I guess, long story short, off the soapbox again, was this will make us the not the leaders of Stargate for the group or anything, but if someone has a question, we will have probably talked about it over the last week or 2 or 3 or 4, and we'll be able to just be that encyclopedia and bring things up for people when need be. Because we'll be getting questions. We always just get questions just throughout stuff, and you're like, oh, wait, that happened this way. No, this happened that way. But by a year into this, we'll be so good with Stargate knowledge, it won't even be funny. David Reed will have to be quizzing us again, because then I don't know if anybody
interviewing us.
Yeah, I don't know if anybody has Stargate knowledge like David Reed does. Our goal is to become baby Reeds, I guess. We'll try. Shout out David Reed as always. Cool dude. I'm glad got to hang out with him for a little bit and actually, bring some Stargate together, because it's gonna be a good fandom. We already are a good fandom.
Hopefully we'll have new Stargate to talk about. Hopefully.
In a big way. Please. I'll do it again.
Please.
Bag? Melvin, you're going to be busy here watching all these things, especially when you start watching Star Trek and No Ordinary Family. LOL.
Yeah.
No
Ordinary Family. He's just not going to let the No Ordinary Family thing go, is he? No.
I was just gonna not even mention the Ordinary Family stuff and just let that kind of go to the side real quick. But I will watch Star Trek Enterprise very soon. Literally every time I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna go sit down and do this, because I wanted to do it Sunday, and after the debate, I was like, nah. I was like, nah. It was not today. I do want to. I just need to actually sit down and do so. And I guess we have talked a little. The biggest holdup right now, I guess, is actually because we've talked about OBS and moving to OBS and not StreamYards all the way. And it is a better way to do watch party streams.
Right.
Because, you can bring up a clock and you can do all that kind of stuff. So that is the better way. I'm just not necessarily technologically apt enough to figure that out by my lonesome. And Chazz and Matt are... Yeah, they're putting
Chazz
it together.
Matt, I got to work on that because my husband thinks StreamYard sucks too.
It is awesome for its simplicity,
right?
But it totally takes advantage of those that don't understand that everything that can be. Well, I understand that everything that can be done here can be done better on literal free platforms,
right?
But I don't know. I don't have that technical, I guess, wherewithal to do that. And StreamYards takes advantage of that in a big way. They're so expensive for no reason, realistically. They just raised their prices again over the last couple months, and they finally, I guess, you can stream in 1080p or 1440p or something like that. Is your top stream. Usually it's still like 1080p at best, but you're going to pay extra to do all that as well. And we do, so we have the ability whenever, if our cameras have started looking a little nicer, that's why, because StreamYards has finally allowed it to be so. But yeah, we need to figure out OBS. I think, obviously, I'm resistant to not change, because I know change is a good thing, especially when it comes to tech stuff. I'm just not all that fancy when it comes to understanding it. And Jamie and Stormy, when we've mentioned it, are not either. So I'm the old head with the old heads right now, where we're like, do we have to do the fancy technology? Yeah, we do. We just got to figure out how to actually do it.
Yeah, we do. It's not. I don't.
It's not going to be that difficult, I don't think.
No, I don't think so. I mean, if that's what most people are using, then it can't be that hard.
Yeah. There's just so many more elements that go into it. The stream elements, as they say, which is another company we thought about using, but not Stream Elements or Streamlabs. Sorry, y'all. Actually, Streamlabs might be a decent thing. Not to, like Melvin was saying the other day, they have a really good website for merchandise and stuff. Streamlabs is based on OBS. That's right. Okay. That's why. I have questions. I won't go into all this right here, right now. But I have questions. I need to text Chazz and or Melvin about Streamlabs. But Streamlabs might be good because it is a happy medium with the OBS stuff, and they do the merch stuff, and they do the they don't do the merch stuff. They have it where you can have it all the designs you want, and people order it, and they make them to order kind of deal. But I don't think they take as much of the profit per se as like not Redbubble, Shopify or something like your typical merchandise companies would. Right. Melvin, remind me, isn't it? It's a lower rate that they do that, right? And Streamlabs is cool because we can always, instead of waiting for a live stream and people might have a cool question that they want to super chat in there and donate a couple dollars, but ask a really good question or bring up a really cool topic to talk about, whatever it may be. Streamlabs allows tips to be just on whenever, and people ask cool questions or bring cool ideas or something forward. And that might just be a fun thing to do. And then whenever the next stream, whatever it might be, then we'll pull up Streamlabs with those questions or with that, whatever. Because if someone donates and asks questions, we will answer them live, of course. But that's just me spitballing out loud a little bit there. I'm with you, though.
We'll figure it out. We'll get
OBS
there.
is going to be the way. Yeah. Well, anything else you can think of?
I think that was it. So
yeah. We need to watch Evil 4 seasons. Have you seen Evil?
I watched like the first couple seasons of it, and then I thought it was canceled or whatever, but then it got moved. Well, I don't know. I haven't watched the end of it. I did watch for sure the first season of it, and that was it was good, creepy, like very creepy. The first season.
It's the one with Mike Coulter, right?
I don't know names, but
what's Luke Cage?
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Yeah. I really like him a lot.
It's good.
I like that. Hell yeah, I'm in. I'll watch it. It's one that's been on my radar, on a watch list for forever, and just never clicked it off the watch list. I need to. Which, whenever I actually get to Star Trek Enterprise, hopefully in the next day, 2, 3, something like that. Too much TV, not enough hours in the day. Damn right, Peter. Damn right. And don't forget movies. I finally saw the first movie that I've seen in a theater in like 2 weeks, and I felt like an addict just getting a hit again for the first time. I was like, yes, I'm back. Which I went to go see Heretic, and that was really thought-provoking. It was good. It's not a horror movie. It's a thriller, but it was really thought-provoking. I've just stumbled upon this. Is this live? Yes, Liebshin. Probably not for all that much longer. We keep mentioning that. They get distracted. Not for too much longer. We do got to get out of here.
Finding more rabbit holes, No,
Chazz, where's our button? Into the rabbit hole. We need the rabbit hole to be an actual Stargate as well. Just jumping into it.
Yeah. Have you ever seen like people that build like these hot tubs or pools in their backyard where it's like in the ground, but it's a circle and they do the outer edge of it as the Stargate? That would be so cool.
I have not. I won't. I haven't seen one, but I already know I want one.
Yeah.
Okay, I won't. Okay, well, you know what? Screw it. We'll go down real quick. I just want to Google it real quick.
Jason Rabbit.
In-ground hot tub?
Or a pool, or I'm not sure if it was a hot tub or a pool, but I think it was a pool.
Oh my God. Okay.
You got to show it.
I want one so bad. So bad already. This is too freaking cool.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah. Yep. Or people be like, the perfect pool doesn't exist, or whatever. It's like,
yes, it does.
Yeah.
Yes, it does.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh my God. What is this? Is this an actual hot tub? Oh, that's just a hot tub. Okay. I was like, is that a pool table for a second with like a Stargate something on top of it? No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I want one.
I know. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I want 2 with like a divider between them.
Oh,
and
so
then
you
just a little tunnel that I can swim under to either one, and then I can pop up in the next Stargate and be in a whole new world.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if it does a kawoosh when you turn it on. If it doesn't, I would be upset.
You got to figure out how to make it do that. Yeah.
It looks more like something out of Lord of the Rings. Nah, that looks pretty Stargate.
Mm-hmm.
That looks pretty Stargate. But a ring-themed hot tub would be pretty damn cool as well. And you turn the hot tub on, and the inside of like all the lights on the inside of the hot tub are actually just elvish in the middle of the hot tub, just like the ring. Yeah. Ooh.
Yeah.
Pool lights of the chevrons would be cool.
Mm-hmm.
I did not expect 2 hours, 5 minutes into the stream to be talking about pools. But if we're not careful, I could be talking about pools. I think we could be talking about pools for the next 45 minutes. Because they're so damn cool. Like that was so. I want one so bad. But we should say we're cutting it here. If we don't have anything else, anything else that we can bring up real quick that we can think about.
I think we chased down all the rabbits.
I think so. And now that is the rabbit hole I'm going to follow. There have been plenty of ones to go down. That's the one I will follow, but I'm going to do it on my own time, y'all. Sorry. We got to let Sarah go. I got to go do some things as well, which means I can't do the rabbit hole right now, but I'll do them later. Because how do I build and what is the California penal code or anything? Do they? I know they're probably gonna. You can't do anything without a good permit around here.
Right.
So maybe I shouldn't just build in my backyard, because I was definitely considering just digging a big hole and going for it the second I saw that. But good night, all. Good morning, afternoon, evening.
Yes, wherever you are in the world.
We appreciate y'all wherever you are.
We do.
Thank y'all. Thank y'all for hanging with us. Thank y'all for talking Stargate. It's silliness, it's craziness, the silliness and craziness of Comic-Cons. Whether or not you believe Stargate can come back, will come back, we all know it should come back. So that one wasn't hard, but yeah. You got any spiel you want to give out before the end of it?
Nope. Just, make sure to watch the charity stream.
Yes, thank y'all. Thank y'all for donating and doing everything last time, especially for Sarah and Carrie on that one. And y'all keep your eyes out for that one. Check out that Colin Cunningham interview as well if you haven't. And Stargate Hot Tub Time Machine. Don't get me started. Put me in, Coach. I'm ready. The sequel.
There we go. That's the crossover we all want right there.
It's not the crossover we wanted. It's the crossover we needed.
Yeah.
We didn't know we needed it. And now we want it.
Now we know.
Full circle. But see you, James. See you, Tony. See you, Melvin. See you, R. See you, Stanley's, Peter. Everybody. Liebshin. Thanks for everybody that hopped in here a little bit later. Check out the beginning and stuff. Roll that thing back. We used to talk about some good stuff.
Yep.
But once again, my outros are the most atrocious things ever. But I guess I
should come up with one. Then I can do it.
Well, I should too. I just end up rambling for a few minutes and see ya. It's got out of the way. This is the way, as Mando would say. And without any further ado, we'll leave it to you. Adios.
Bye.
See y'all.